Have you ever ended up with someone you thought you were really interested in them and then not so much? Well, I call it sort of like a relationship identity shift, and astrology can actually sort of help with this if you think of it like knowing your own love language, because with astrology, it can tell us really what our energetic love language is. Only a lot of us are on the wrong page. We are getting partial information. The first way that can happen is if we're focusing a lot on our sun signs. You probably know that our astrology is much deeper than just the sun sign. But for someone that is still at that level, which we've all been there, no harm in that. Basically, if you've always identified, for instance, as a Gemini, and you've thought of yourself as very quirky, and also that you like to be with fire signs, maybe they're a Leo or an Aries, but you go deeper with them and you think, well, I thought they were very fiery in the beginning, but then it turns out that there's a whole watery side to them that just isn't my cup of tea. Well, in my world, I'm actually a sidereal astrologist. In the West, most people are using tropical astrology. But sidereal astrology is the method that most astrologers use in India. In general, it just means that your whole chart is 23 degrees behind what you might already know it as. If you are an Aries, for instance, then that means your chart actually might show you as a Pisces. Your sidereal chart might show you as a Pisces, the sign behind Aries. So because of this, you might picture yourself as a very fiery Aries, but in reality, actually have very many Pisces traits. And why does that matter with relationships? Well, because if I think of myself as very Aries in that I'm going to be a go-getter in relationships, and I'm totally fine with maybe asking someone out, but then I go along and I realize, oh, I wish I wouldn't have done that. I would have liked to have been pursued. Being pursued would be more of something that you'd want as a Pisces, whereas an fiery Aries is going to be much more willing to put themselves out there. And that's what was going on with the woman that I just met recently. She had so many planets in Aquarius in her tropical chart, but when she looked at that same chart in sidereal, she had many planets in Capricorn, and that did not sit right with her because to her, Aquarius is very eclectic and cutting edge, and that's how she saw herself. And for her, Capricorn is much more staid, it's much more stern, it's all about control, and it's not how she saw herself at all. But listen to the way she described how she sees herself in relationships. She's in her 20s and she doesn't want to be in a relationship at all. She wants to wait till she's in her 40s, where Capricorn is ruled by Saturn. And this is very classic Saturn, because Saturn, when you have a lot of it in your chart, makes it so you're very likely to wait for a long time to have a very serious relationship. She was exhibiting very Capricornian, very Saturn way of looking at relationships. She wants to be with someone who is very accomplished, like she is. And in fact, she's more accomplished than many of the people her age, but she wants to be at a much higher level, and she wants to be with someone who's at that same level with her. Now, this is really interesting because we can imagine that even now in her 20s, that there are some men in their 20s that really have their you-know-what together. They have great lives. They've built an incredible career, even at such a young age. So it could be that she could conceptualize being with someone her own age that is very, very sort of elevated and at a very high level in their career, and someone that she would feel fits how she is envisioning her life and where she wants to be in life. So I found this very interesting. She was very strict about relationships, and being strict, being very controlled about relationship is very Capricorn. And so showing her chart and pointing these things out sort of started opening her mind to the fact that Saturn energy could be very strong in her chart, though that wasn't the way she actually saw herself. So what we really need to understand is that a chart can be very varied. So you could have a lot of air in your chart, but it might be coming from a place you completely didn't expect it to be coming from. The number one way I see people misunderstanding astrology is just being very focused on sun signs. And when we do that, we miss the fact that there's actually so much more to your astrology chart. When you were born, you have all of these other planets like the moon, Mercury, your Venus, your Mars. But if you still are in the place where the sun is very important, then you might be thinking of yourself purely as an air sign if your sign is something like Aquarius, Libra, or Gemini, completely unaware that the rest of your chart could be completely earth. It could be mostly water or a mix of all of those. If you think of yourself as being, for instance, a Sagittarius kind of energy, Sagittarians like to travel. They're up for more adventure. They're meeting new people all the time. So someone could feel like, especially if they have, say, a Venus in Sagittarius, they want to be with someone who's going to imbue even more adventure into their lives. Someone that is always bringing something fresh and new to the table. But then after a while, she could actually start feeling like, I really like more stability. I'd prefer to be with someone who I can count on being around, that they're not always going to be coming up with a new schedule, for instance. Like, why can't we do things in a more methodical way? This is the kind of thing that you might expect from someone that has a lot of earth or water in their chart. So starting to look for these patterns, and actually have a PDF for you if you want to message me over on Instagram that can start to help you build a sense of looking for patterns in your chart. So what do you actually do with all this information? Well, when you are looking for these patterns, you can actually think of them as your astrology love language, and that PDF is going to include that as well. Earth is going to make you want more stability. You're going to want more structure. Water's going to make you want to be with someone that can open up with their emotions. If you have a lot of air in your chart, then you're going to want to be with someone that you could talk about with just about random things that come up for you. If you have a lot of fire, then the things that you're feeling passionate about, you want to be able to discuss them. You want to even be able to perhaps do those things with them. So these different love languages might be hidden to you right now. You might be unaware of things that are sort of like hidden desires in your soul that you want to be able to manifest in a relationship. And these things don't have to be hidden anymore. When you start going deeper with your chart, when you start looking at the different facets, it doesn't mean you have to be a sidereal astrology or always use sidereal astrology like I do. But looking at the different possibilities for patterns that could be helping you at the moment to end up where you need to be is really the main goal here. It's just about looking at your astrology chart so you can get a sense of what your own personal love language is, because it is written in the stars. Personally, it's there for you so you can be an active participant in aligning with the choices that could be changing through time. But if you're watching this video, that means that you're ready to look at it with fresh eyes so that you can align with the love that you are ready to manifest.